right, we are back in the lab. Nothing like 5 in the morning, bright and early. About 10 degrees here in New England, pretty brutal. Stretch it out, big girl, stretch it out. Should be a good morning. Little back office we use here, set it up for podcasts. Still haven't gotten around to that, but this is where we get down some of our media stuff, a bit deeper into it. So looking at the first race being... So even though I rode, obviously I'm not completely healed yet, and the strength side of things kind of is a everlasting journey at this point, because there's so many imbalances. So I'm just kind of always chasing that and trying to gain a little at a time. But yeah, I think that was the biggest thing about riding, was just kind of mental, getting back on the horse and letting my central nervous system relax on a bike, because that was definitely the biggest thing. Like, I could feel my whole body stressed as I was kind of getting back onto it, but just cruising, and felt good, no complaints. Had a couple sketchy moments, which was good. I kind of had to let my body react, and it did its thing. But the irresponsible thing to do would just be to assume that, like, now I'm good, and we're just gonna ride and then just kind of go into survival mode, where it's like, oh, now I just have a bad hip. That's not an excuse. So, like I said, it's back to the drawing board, back into the lab here, and just doing some small things. We'll start with some lower body basics, which is just a whole hip activation, making sure we can root everything back to the pelvis and make sure we're getting connection from there out. So yeah, I'll take you through a little bit of that, and then keep the day rolling. Whenever I'm looking at an injury, I don't necessarily look at like the spot that's injured. I'll go to like the bigger picture and look at, okay, well, if we go down the chain, what's the bigger motor here? Like, where's the power for that coming from? Now we're looking at trying to get a glute contraction. So we're trying to get glute to fire on right side and adductor. So now my body can start to build the relationship between glute and adductors. Right now we're looking at the 90-90 hip stretch, just looking at internal, external rotation. So my right side right now, my injured side that I'm coming back from, is an internal rotation. So I'm feeling left and external rotation, and I'm feeling right hip and internal rotation. So right femur is an internal rotation. And now this is the big one for me. Now I'm in as much external rotation. I'm just open, like if I were in a squat here. So now from here, left side's opening, right side is closing. I'm gonna work right side down slow. Next, we're going into a split squat, and so I wanna feel every step of the kinetic chain up to my hip. That's the objective here. So I'm going for feel. So I'm gonna make sure I can feel the ground with my foot and then get into my ankle joint. And now from here in a soft stance, I'm floating down into the squat pattern, and I'm trying to keep my pelvis itself neutral. And then again, from floor back up, I'm feeling foot grab, there's no shake there, and then it's going up into my quad. So again, another big movement for me, and it's feeling good, so I'm thankful.